Well, what we eat is important to our well-being, but how we eat has just as great an impact. Joining me this morning are Allison Shore-Gaines, she's a holistic health educator, as well as Liz Walls from the Genesis Spiritual Life and Conference Center in Westfield to tell you about an upcoming program. Wonderful to have you here. Tell us about the Genesis Spiritual Life and Conference Center, Liz.
Well, for over 37 years, Genesis has been accompanying people on their spiritual journey through workshops and programs. And so often in our culture, we think of ourselves as human beings learning to be spiritual. So we're kind of flipping that on its head and saying, what does it mean to be a spiritual being learning to be human? And one of the fundamental things that is necessary for life is nourishment. So how do we stay connected to the sacred as we honor the fact that we have food available, mostly in our culture, and honor ourselves as we take it in and honor the food itself?
It seems like such a simple way to think, just to, you know, we do think of our bodies with a spirit, but to think of yourself as a spirit with a body is so important and really can change your life. Now tell us, there's a workshop that you're hosting. Tell us about why you're hosting this workshop.
In our spiritual journeys, there are many things, well, in the absence of the spiritual journey, we can take things for granted.
Absolutely.
We can rush past sacred moments. And multiple times a day, we each have the opportunity to connect with the sacred moment of taking in nourishment. And unfortunately, we need to learn how to do that. And we need some coaching, we need repetition, and we need support and leadership, which Allison so beautifully offers.
It is such a fast-paced life we live, so it's wonderful that you're here to talk to us about this, Allison.
Thank you,
What
Ashley.
is mindful eating, anyway?
Well, mindful eating basically is about slowing down. It's about not just arriving at the table and shoveling the meal down and then leaving the table like I always did. It's about taking a few breaths, relaxing before you take that first mouthful. And then instead of eating our stresses and eating our emotions, we take a moment to just ease up a little bit. And then when we're in a more, maybe that's what grace is about. Maybe that's why we say grace is a way to slow down. So then if we chew our food really well, there aren't any teeth in the stomach. So
Right.
this is our only chance to really chew well and to mix with a digestive enzyme that digests starches in the mouth, in saliva, is pitulant. It's not down here. So we digest a lot of our carbs by chewing well. And when we chew well, we eat slower. We actually become really good listeners because we're busy chewing.
Yes.
And when we eat slower, then if we're paying attention to the flavors, paying attention to the textures, we're actually enjoying food more. So we enjoy food more, and we tend to eat less because it takes about 20 minutes for the brain to catch up with the belly. Well, in 20 minutes of shoveling, I can do a lot of damage. But in 20 minutes of eating mindfully, my brain and my belly are in alignment, and I can feel when to stop.
It makes perfect sense, and there is that saying, stop and smell the roses. It's kind of stop and enjoy your food.
Exactly.
And that will make a difference. So how can that change your life?
Well, first of all, there's some health benefits to eating mindfully. If you have acid reflux, chewing well can take care of that problem. If you tend to need something sweet after you eat for quick energy, eating mindfully digests well, and you don't need caffeine or sugar so much at the end. But also the practice of being mindful, of slowing down and noticing with our senses, noticing colors, noticing flavors, noticing textures, breathing fully, actually feeling in our bodies breathe. That practice begins to permeate life. So we begin to be more observant, and the practice of mindfulness, which is slowing down and being more present in the moment, actually brings us an access to insight.
It's a fascinating concept, simple but fascinating, and people can actually participate in your program. We're almost out of time, but we want to let everyone know how they can register for this program.
Well, it's just right around the corner. It's going to be September 8th to 13th at the Genesis Spiritual Life and Conference Center in Westfield. They can call or sign up online, and we'll give them all they need to know to have a wonderful week with Allison.
And Allison, what will people take from this program?
Well, I think the takeaway is, first of all, being kind to themselves. We create an atmosphere of kindness and acceptance, and also we throw a little humor and lightness in. Also depth. so an understanding of themselves and an understanding and some tools for overcoming what drives the way they eat.
Well, from this day forward, I'm certainly going to change the way I eat. I'm a shoveler and a person that craves sweets. So it's so nice to talk to you, and I'm sure all of our viewers feel
Thank
the same.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Ashley.
so much for joining us today. And to learn more about this upcoming program about mindful eating, you can call 413-562-3627. You can also visit GenesisSpiritualCenter.org. Still